online. Landing complete.
Hey, Blade. Living the event vicariously through your stream while I wait for my gaming group to get online tonight. Are you guys going to be checking out Invictus as well?
Get an inside look at some of your favorite manufacturers' ships. Check the daily schedules for directions.
Ah, I gotcha.
Please consult our maps to take advantage of all the exhibits this year's Invictus has to offer. Be sure to check back every day to see the full lineup of ships and technology now available to the UEE Navy.
Well, this is new
Navy
down
would like
here.
to thank
This is
our
pretty
private and
nice.
corporate partners for making this year's Invictus the best start their service.
Yeah, RAM-wise, I'm using 29 gigs right now. He'd be having a rough time trying to go to Invictus. I like how they've decorated this out this year. This is quite nice. They changed the colors up from last year, like these. During CitizenCon, this was like white, and there was like yellow, sort of like accents on everything, but now they got the blue and the gold color scheme here. But basically, the hall is basically laid out the same.
Welcome to the Invictus ship hall. All of the vehicles you see on display are this year's additions to the fleet.
Yeah, so we have for day 1 to 2, it's RSI, Consolidated Outland, ARGO, and Origin. Hey, Deadeye Jack, how's it going? And like last year, they have all the weapons and components on display. Cool. Yeah, it's definitely worth checking out, I think. And over on this side, we got the Attrition series, size 1 all the way up to 6. Plus a bunch of other weapons. Invictus week is a good week to find components for your ship, too. Because, you know, they have them all on display, so it's pretty easy to pick them up. And as they roll through the days, there'll be different weapons in different halls. Here's a ship everybody should be familiar with at this point. An Aurora. We got the constellations in the back there. I think everybody's seen constellations at this point, though, so we aren't going to spend too much time looking at constellations. And, of course, the Mantis. For all your quantum interdiction needs. Except that you'll get a crime stat if you attempt to use it, so just watch out for that, I guess. And what do you guys think? Holo viewers right now, or jump over to the sub-halls? I'll let chat give the call on that one. Deadeye Jack says sub-halls. Alright, we're going to the sub-halls. Spoiler alert, there are no submarines in the sub-halls. So on that edge over there that I'm looking at right now, there's a bunch of ship components there too, just like they have the weapons all laid out. And there we have the F-8A. That's actually an anvil ship. Are you getting into Warhammer? That's a hobby that's almost as expensive as collecting spaceships. So good luck with that. Am I the only one that doesn't like these front thingies on the, these front thingies right here and here on the F8? I kind of feel like it would look a little bit better if they weren't there. But pretty crazy amount of firepower on that ship. I mean, it's got 8 guns. More Navy statues. Actually, these ones are mannequins, not statues. They've got the uniforms on display. This guy is being real dynamic. There's the Argos. Little small support craft for larger capital ships. And we got a Mustang. A ship that everybody should be pretty familiar with at this point. Still, the more recent rework that they gave it is pretty nice. Yeah, you guys are going down the rabbit hole of something that's even more expensive than spaceships. And we got a Origin 350, I believe. Or 325A, sorry. 325A. And we've got 125A. Nice little small starter. Very low profile. So, only really ships that are more, you know, fighters and more have a military role seem to be more present. I mean, they do have the Phoenix in the other hull, but you notice like ships like the 600 don't seem to be here. The 890, even though it's Origin Day, they're not really being featured. We'll walk past that F8 again. Actually, they got a whole board here with information. I'll let you guys pause that if you want to read it. Yeah, exactly. It is a military-themed holiday and recruiting drive. So that's what we should really expect to see. Although, to be fair, Connie's, you know, are sort of a multi-role gunship based on their description, so kind of makes sense that they're there. Alright, we will head downstairs to the holo viewers. I could rush down these, but there's not really a point. Ursa rovers. They have the new Scorpius has the turret on a track, but the Ursa rover does too, actually, really, when you think about it. Just not really designed to be deployed from the side. Nice timeline here.
And can be found on almost all of our capital ships, space stations, and even ground facilities.
And this is the Scorpius.
Navy flight training can provide the necessary training for a variety of jobs.
Very much like an X-Wing.
From combat to hauling applications, naval pilots receive kind of
Size 3 mounts on the wings, 4 size 3s on the turret, remote turret. That's on a rail system, as I mentioned. It goes behind and to the ventral part. Right down there. Slides on rails from up top down there. I kind of question how useful that actually is when we have things like decoupled mode. And the fact that it's, even though it's classed as a heavy fighter, it's still pretty small for a heavy fighter, so I kind of question the usefulness of being able to put the turret on the back of it when the flight model basically means you can spin around and... But anyway, that's a whole other argument. I was having a discussion with someone the other day, or a couple people the other day, and instead of that rail system, I was thinking it should have a turret with 2 guns on top, a turret with 2 guns on the bottom, and the turret operator gets a sort of Apache level head tracking VR inside the cockpit sort of setup, in which if they look down, the bottom 2 guns would engage. If they look up, the top 2 guns would engage, and if they look straight forward or anywhere around like the ecliptic, then then both guns would engage. Basically, they'd engage up until their maximum translation point. I was thinking that would be something way more unique that no other ship sort of really does, because that sort of railed turret on the Scorpius, I don't really think it's that useful as it currently is. And, you know, the Javelin actually has a turret on rails as well, so it's also very similar to the Hurricane, so I'm not really sure what role this is actually going to, you know, provide in game that you can't already do with the Hurricane. It's not that the Hurricane or this exists, it's that they kind of are eating into each other's roles even more so than, you know, even other fighter classes necessarily do. But yeah, you'd keep the same amount of total forward firepower, but it would let you divide the firepower when you're looking up and looking down, and then it wouldn't necessarily be as you know, powerful, you know, for looking around. I mean, the wings already sort of block the turret, you know, on some angles. Like if I was right here, the turret wouldn't be able to track me. I guess they could move the turret, you know, on the rail down to there and be able to shoot me at that point. But, you know, then I just move somewhere else. So, based on the translation speed along that rail that they showed in the animation on the website, it just would take way too long in combat to be able to reposition it. So, it's a kind of a cool idea, but I think that part of the concept missed the mark. Aesthetics-wise, I think it's awesome looking, but we'll see. We'll just have to see how useful it ends up being in game. And the Perseus. This is another ship that I really like the looks of. I wish the Polaris was more shaped like this with the upper bridge rather than the bridge on the nose, because when I think this, I think of a ship that really looks like a, you know, like a boat in space. The only other ship that kind of looks like that is the 890, but this really looks like a, you know, a boat in space. It's got those twin dual size 7 turrets on it. It's got a size 3 remote turret there on the back. Another size 3 remote turret somewhere else, I believe. Yeah, there it is, right there. Really cool ship. Really good for harassing capital ships, it should be. The weapons are bespoke on it, as far as I'm aware, so you're not able to actually change out those size 7 guns, but they're supposed to have differing amounts of ammo, so we'll see that one in the future. But I wish the Polaris, this is what the Polaris should have been, with a hangar, you know, behind the bridge or something like that, with the bridge sort of upper like that, on the Polaris, rather than have the bridge right in front for the Polaris. Still cool looking though. This must be the constellation Taurus. Yep. This is the high cargo capacity constellation. Pretty much the same as the other constellations, just a little bit different cargo configuration. But we've seen lots of constellations. And there's the Polaris that I talked about with the bridge up front. So you got the, you know, you got this bridge sort of in this nose section here. It's got the hangar in the back, but I'm just imagining what this ship would look like if, you know, if the bridge was sort of like here. I mean, you'd have to change a few other things on the ship, but if it was more like that Perseus sort of like upper command deck, I think that would almost be a better, you know, a better look for this. Maybe even, you know, you could do that and then have the hangar on the bottom somehow. It'd be totally opposite to how hangars basically work in Star Citizen at this point, but, you know, that hasn't stopped them before with concepts. But yeah, this is definitely not the nicest looking ship, but it's got a lot of stuff that I like in a ship. It's got the hangar, it's got the few turrets. I just wish we could have got something closer to the Perseus, but you know, with a hangar. Not necessarily the Perseus in functionality, but the Perseus in terms of looks. G12. So this is the rover from Origin, which somehow has a military use. But it is quite nice looking. I don't have a lot to say about ground vehicles in Star Citizen, of course, but sort of feels like they tacked the military aspect onto this one just to sort of fit it in. But there it is.
Invictus Launch Week is a great opportunity to see your forces at work. As members of the Empire, it's your right to inspect the latest.
Alright, so that's about basically all the ships. I'm not really going to touch on any of the ships that are on display other than we've already touched on, because there's plenty of stuff out there about that already. Sure, there's plenty of people making Invictus content as well, but might as well check it out. Unless you guys want me to check out anything specifically before we leave here. And we'll try to track down the Invictus fleet and see if we can check out the Javelin. Looks like the Invictus fleet is currently at Hurston. Altrium says, the Hercules has converged remote turrets, kind of like you described. Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool then. I'll have to check that out when I get access to a Hercules later in the week. Yeah, being able to command more than one, turret from the same station without having to toggle between them, just letting it engage whichever guns can engage, I think is a really solid design. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. It would sort of be like, I forgot that they did that with the eyepiece. So yeah, something like that on the Scorpius, it would be really cool because, you know, it would require the pilot to keep the target sort of like directly ahead or behind based on the wings, the way the wings are. So, you know, to maximize the firepower of the turret, you'd still have to sort of rely on the pilot to do that. But it would let the turret operator control those two turrets and sort of look around and have, you know, basically full top and full bottom coverage except for where the wings are. So it sort of give you some extra flexibility and let you do something that would be really unique for the ship instead of just making it, you know, a turret on a track, which I don't really think is going to translate too well into the, you know, the game's mechanics given the flight model. Because like I said, you can just flip around at any time you want just due to decoupled mode, so I mean, not that you can necessarily track the target, but, you know, I hear a lot of talk about, you know, using the turret while you're running away. Well, if you're running away, you can just decouple and still maintain your velocity on that same vector. So it's not really going to make a difference, I don't think. At least until they make more flight model changes or whatever they end up doing. Alright, let's see if we can get to Everest Harbor. And yeah, let's see if we can get on that javelin. Check that out.